Hey everybody, welcome to today's show. My name's Jonathan. As always, joined by the Masters crew here. We got Al, the Doc, John Beast. What's up, guys?
How we doing?
Everybody doing great.
What's up?
Yeah, real good. Super excited for today's show. Before we get started, Masters Fantasy Football Leagues hold over 600 Dynasty Leagues and growing. Also, if you could hit that like and subscribe button, love for you to come be a part of this YouTube channel with us. With that said, let's get right into it. We're going to be looking at some players we think you should either trade for or trade away prior to, in a couple weeks, we got the free agency begins. So we're going to talk about some guys we think you should, go get or trade. Who wants to start?
I'll start.
Yeah.
So when I'm thinking of players to go get, and what I'm thinking about is right this time of the year, people are really just thinking about rookies.
Yep.
And even last year, because I don't think the running backs were quite good enough to win with. Other than last year, you can't win without veteran players. And the veteran player I was thinking about was Aaron Jones. He's 25, which most people think when you hit 25, or he's 26 actually. When you hit 26, you're done.
You're washed up.
You're washed up. You're out of your rookie contract. Nobody's going to pay you. No one's going to sign you. This, that, and the other. So but he's got he's got some things that are really going for him. For example, he's got about 650 carries. Zeke Elliott. I took some notes on this. Zeke Elliott has 1,400 carries, while Aaron Jones has 650. On top of that, Zeke's got another 220 catches, and Aaron Jones has 120. So you're talking a total...
A lot less wear and tear.
A lot less wear and tear.
Yeah.
And Zeke is a year younger. I do need to point that out. The other one is Alvin Kamara. He's got 700 carries. He also has 320 catches, so he's over 1,000.
Wow.
Again, it's a lot more. And then when I think about Aaron Jones getting, he's going to be 26, and how running backs, we all think they fall off a cliff, and I'll give you 11. There's all kinds of examples. I don't need to give everybody any examples, but here's some examples of some running backs' ages. Terrell Davis had 2,000 yards at 25. OJ had 2,000 yards at 26. Derrick Henry and AP were both 27. They had 2,000 yards. OJ had 1,800 yards at 28. Barry Sanders at 2,000 yards at 29. Tiki Barber had 1,800 and 1,600 yards at 30 and 31. Walter Payton had a 1,300 yard season at 32. And John Riggins had a 1,300 yard season at 34. And this guy's got almost no wear on him. And he's in a great situation. And what if, I think he'd be best served in Green Bay, but what if he ends up at Miami?
Yeah.
What if he ends up in San Francisco? What if he ends up with Seattle?
Yeah.
These are all great landing spots where he's just going to dominate the carries and will be a true quarterback.
Yeah.
I think he's a good guy to go get, and I think get him cheap right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what cheap is,
Yeah.
but I bet you get him like a one. I'd take him over every back in this draft other than, I think I'd take him over every back in this draft.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the take a lot, and especially too, Aaron, because a lot of people think the time in Green Bay is probably up. A lot of people are actually trying to sell, and I think he's a really good buy because even if he's not in Green Bay next year, he's going to go somewhere that's going to pay him and going to use him. And I actually think he could be franchise tagged and stay in Green Bay another year. And like you said, I think Green Bay could even be the best spot for him. So no matter where he's playing, I think he's a great talent.
And he finished 2-5 in points the last 2 years.
I was going to say he's top 5 PPR back
and
last year.
He wasn't really featured because Green Bay, like to keep their players healthy as opposed to a lot of other teams. They don't care to run him into the ground. If he ends up one of those teams, give him 350 carries, see what happens.
Exactly. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the uncertainty with Aaron Jones that's kind of dropped him down a notch because we just don't know. But I see the report today that mutual interest between him and Miami. So if something like that happens, I think more importantly the money. He's going to get paid, and when he gets paid, it's going to be to be a number one running back. I think you take the uncertainty that's out there with him now, make a trade for him, and capitalize off it. I like it. My guy, actually the same backfield. I'm going Jamal Williams. Not as much hype, obviously. I don't think he's a player that Aaron Jones is, and I actually don't. I don't even think he's capable. I'm not sure if he's capable of being a true number one running back. He does have the size of 6 feet. He's like 210. I think more importantly for me, I actually read something today that said that they didn't think Green Bay had the cap space to pay either one of them. That's just something I read, Aaron Jones or Jamal Williams.
Yeah, so right now they're actually over the cap.
Yeah.
But
A lot of
So,
teams are hurt.
Yeah.
And just by the article,
They'll adjust some things and.
correct,
it'll
but it
work,
was
but-
saying that, they felt Jamal Williams was going to get a little bit of money, for his contract based on what he's done the last couple of years. I think he's a perfect, third down back. And for me, he's a guy you can probably get as a toss-in, in a trade. I don't think you're going to have to pay a lot for him. And I think wherever he does go, it's going to be with a even bigger role than he had in Green Bay. And I don't have to go back that far. I mean, we sat talking about a year ago, even in that year that Aaron Jones finished second, it was like 6-7 weeks into the season. They were neck and neck.
Yeah.
They were getting, pretty much splitting carries.
Right.
Jamal Williams got hurt. Like I said, I don't think he's going to be a bell cow. I don't think he's a guy you can start as a 1. But I'm looking at him like, a perfect, like a James White, just a guy that you can start and use. For me, he's real cheap, and depending on where he goes, I think he could be a steal.
I like the comparison with James White, and there's another guy who produced when he was old.
Yeah. And I was even thinking the guy in Washington, I forgot his name for some reason.
McKissick.
McKissick.
Yeah.
I mean, just one of them type of guys.
Yeah, and I think the difference is that Jamal Williams actually has upside as, he could get those goal line carries. I mean, his size,
work between
it's not like some of
tackles,
these other guys where his size is going to be a limiting factor. I mean,
Right.
he could play 3 downs if needed. I don't know if anyone's going to
That's
shell out
another,
to make
is
him their
there a
starter.
chance?
I mean, there's always a chance. I mean, I don't know who really needs a starter, and I mean, you could get a starter for cheap in that scenario. I don't know if anyone will do that, but I mean, he's got the ability to produce like a starter. I
Give
just
him
don't
the
know.
opportunity.
Yeah, I
It's
just
hard
don't
to
know
get
if
that
he'll get
opportunity.
the opportunity.
And that's another
the thing.
scenario that we talk about all the time, like Jacksonville. I mean, what if Jacksonville picks him up?
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all of a sudden he's competing.
Yeah.
With
Maybe
a
for the
little
starting.
4'8" guy that.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I just think he's a guy. If you're making trades, look down the list and toss him in as your second guy, as a toss in, cross your fingers, and it could work out for you.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like a lot of my picks are on that kind of gambling aspect of it where, might work out and it's not, it's worth it to try. And actually, I just thought of a running back, guys.
There you go.
So here's one for all those folks at home here. Former first-round pick running back for the Seattle Seahawks, Rashad Penny.
Ooh, I like that one a lot.
They just recently had said that they're probably not going to bring Chris Carson back. He's an unrestricted free agent. Rashad Penny obviously has been battling injuries since he came into the league, and Carson kind of overshadowed him, took his spot. If Rashad Penny gets healthy, I mean, he's been able to produce when healthy, which hasn't been a lot, but he's proven he's actually talented. He was worth a high pick, but now add in the fact that he could end up being the bell cow in an offense that loves to run the ball at all costs. I mean, it could be a great opportunity to buy low and then just get great value in return.
I'm really happy to hear you say that. I went up the end of last year and I picked up Rashad Penny off of waivers for nothing.
Yeah, I was doing that in some leagues last year too,
I
just
did
picking
too.
up Penny where I could because I was really high on him coming out of college. Obviously, he hasn't been healthy. He's been a bust so far, but
Right.
I mean, you look at his size and athleticism, he's like 5'11", 215, can do it all. I think he can do 220, 220 plus. Can run between the tackles, can catch the ball. I like him a lot. And if Chris Carson's gone, he could finally take over that back.
Yeah, for him, I mean, it's been about two things: staying on the field and then getting opportunities on the field. Well, now there's a ton of opportunity all of a sudden, and now the second aspect of that is he'll be coming off an off season where he's able to kind of get healthy again and maybe go into the season as a starter. I mean, they could always add a running back in the draft. I mean, they love running backs. I wouldn't be surprised if they drafted another or added one in free agency, something like that. But right now, I mean, they've made that investment. I think this is their one chance to see if he's worth keeping around. So I think he's going to get the opportunity. And again, you could get him as a free agent if there's someone in your league that has him. I
You
mean,
probably in a shallower league, he probably is on the waiver wire.
yeah, most likely. And I would almost think if he's on someone's roster, they're thinking the same way I am. So it might be harder to get him in that regard. But, I mean, I think you could still get him for cheap no matter what. And he's got tremendous upside this year. I mean, you wouldn't have to pay anything for him.
And I think along those lines, I think you can also look at Chris Carson as a guy. I actually seen today someone was predicting he signs with Buffalo for 3 years, $25 million. I mean, that shoots Chris Carson's value,
Yeah.
I would think, up. Another guy, too, that I think of is Carlos Hyde.
Yeah.
I mean, not a guy that you're going to pay a ton for, but like you said, Penny's been unable to stay healthy. I mean, Carlos Hyde may slide in and be the starter next year. You'll probably get him for nothing if he's even on a roster in your league.
Exactly.
So it'll just be another guy I'll be looking out for. If not trades, I mean, even in rookie drafts upcoming, could be a late third round pick. Have a starter in Seattle.
They traded, the Browns traded Carlos Hyde just to give Nick Chubb. So Nick Chubb could get in the field.
Yeah.
And I'm a Buckeyes fan, so I mean, I like Hyde. Everywhere he's been, he's produced a little
solid.
bit.
Yeah.
He's not going to win you a league, but he'll definitely,
He might win you a week and a
Yeah.
bye week, and that could win you the league, but you don't see it. You
Yeah.
don't look back on, hey, I won a league in week 7 because Carlos Hyde gave me 100 yards, 4 catches.
And honestly, I got to say, if that happens and he's a starter in Seattle, I think he's going to do more than win you 1 week.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything we know about fantasy, it's all about touches.
Yeah.
And if he's the lone running back in Seattle, he's going to get a ton of touches.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
So I guess while we're on the topics of running backs, I'll throw out another. That's Indianapolis Colts Marlon Mack, another impending free agent. Went to the University of Southern Florida, so I think maybe Miami as a possible destination. I like that. But even, we've talked about Seattle looking possibly to add a running back if Chris Carson doesn't come back. Other teams like San Fran, I think he'd be a really good fit. He's a good one-cut-and-go guy. I think Shanahan would, love to add a guy like that to go along with Mostert, who's had trouble staying healthy. Obviously the big scare is he tore his Achilles, which has always been a hard injury to come back from. Mm-hmm. But it's different, especially when guys are young. Marlon Mack's still pretty young. And the important thing is he did it week 1, so he's already had 6+ months to recover. He's got, another 6 months before week 1 rolls around the season. So plenty of time for him to get healthy. If he's able to sign in a good landing spot, I think he could have a really, a nice year and kind of resurrect his career a little bit because, last year was a wash. He was hurt all year. But the year before, he kind of came on and showed why we liked him coming out of college. Can make guys miss, can catch a little bit, even though they never used him a ton in the passing game. But I think that's a part of his game that can, be unveiled a little bit this year. And I like Marlon Mack.
Every time you say San Francisco, I'm like, I don't know why.
I just always think
about Buffalo too.
Yeah,
said Buffalo for Jamal Williams.
So I know we've been
talking
about guys to trade for, but one guy I really think you should trade away before free agency is Devin Singletary. Talked about it on a show before, but we're all talking about Buffalo adding a running back, and we all kind of like Zach Moss, and I think that just means Devin Singletary is just going to be the odd man out there as soon as they add another running back.
Yeah, 100%. No doubt. He's done.
Yeah, they were using TJ Yeldon.
That was it. The nail in the coffin. That was it. Oh, jeez. I really do like the Marlon Mack take, though, Al. I do. I think, people forget about him. And I feel the same way as you, JK, about San Fran. Because I always think, oh, a running back with Kyle Shanahan, that's great. And then I remember they have 20 different running backs on their roster. But I don't know. I mean, if they make it work and they get rid of some of the other guys they've got.
Well, I just know at one point last year, I was looking at some of my Dynasty teams, and I hate to admit this, but I had 4 San Francisco running backs on some of them.
Yeah.
You never know what am I doing? Well, none of them were really cuttable, but none of them were really startable either, unless all 3 of the other ones were out.
Right.
You know what? You're talking about Shanahan, the running backs. I was thinking of his dad. They had, Clinton Portis, Ruben Drones. They had all kinds of guys just came out of nowhere. Just did 1,200 yards. Just get it done for a running back. Doesn't matter who it is. Just
and then Kyle Shanahan did it too. Arian Foster, Alfred Morris. Who Ben Tate. Ben Tate got a contract from the Browns because of that.
Yeah.
I remember starting Ben Tate, man.
I loved Ben Tate.
Yeah.
44.
Yeah, then the last running back I have, and I have mentioned him before, he's a guy I really, really like. I'm not quite sure where he's going to land yet. James White. I'm still predicting Tampa.
Oh, I was thinking about saying it if you didn't.
Right, I think he ends up in Tampa with Tom Brady. I'm not sure. One thing I do know, probably one of the best pass-catching running backs in the NFL. A guy that was a safety valve for Tom Brady for years. I think he's going to be that no matter where he goes. I think he's going to be a value wherever he goes. The last thing, I just don't want him to stay in New England. I'd love to see him go somewhere else and be a compliment. with a really good quarterback. James White's a guy I think you could get tremendous value on. A guy that's always been a value in drafts too. Up until this last year.
Yeah.
I mean, a guy you could pick up in the 8th, 9th round and get a top 15 back for. He was just
Right.
always underestimated.
Always,
I
yeah.
think he still is now.
Yeah.
I think if you can pull the trigger, I mean, even for like a 3rd round pick, he ends up signing in Tampa Bay or somewhere like that, it's going to be, I mean, one heck of a value.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I know you've been saying that all year.
Yeah.
That even before the year, you know, you were saying if they could find a way to get James White, this and that.
Right.
For a while, I kind of shrugged it off. But even just watching Tampa Bay on the Super Bowl run, I know Fournette was, you know, came along in the playoffs as, you know, catching the ball in the backfield. But Tom Brady loves to check it down to running backs, and Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette, just you can't trust them in the passing game that much.
I don't care how much they
Yeah.
spend on the Jugs machine.
I know.
Yeah.
It
you
just
can't
didn't
trust
work
them.
out.
Fournette, didn't he just have like 80 receptions a
Yeah,
couple 2 years
right.
ago?
Yeah, he did.
James
He
Robinson
did.
did too.
But it's just all because, you know, just forcing where James White, I just think, can come and pat. Just Tom Brady's got the
Don't
ultimate trust.
dissing Fournette.
Go ahead. I like Fournette.
I
as
like
well.
honestly,
Fournette too.
Yeah.
Put Fournette in this.
I
Go
agree.
trade for Fournette
Yeah.
too, because
Yeah.
something happened in Tampa Bay where they turned that switch back on that
He looked.
he had off since
Yeah.
college. I mean, I haven't seen him look that
That's
good
just
since
not
college.
true, man.
Oh,
Fournette- Dude, he's
he
had
was-
some really good years in the pros.
But I don't remember him like
Yes.
he was running over people
No.
this year like he hadn't done since college.
But, you know, and I always go back to this one stat I seen. If you go compare him and Joe Mixon's stats
oh no, I
prior
agree.
to last season, they're neck and neck. Advantage Leonard Fournette in most of the stats.
So-
Leonard Fournette cut, Joe Mixon re-signed for 4 years, $50 million.
Right. Well, statistically, I agree. He. It's not like I'm saying Fournette was bad in Jacksonville because statistically he was fine. Like he
Right.
did what you would expect. It was more of an attitude, kind of character sort of thing there with him in Jacksonville.
Like a maturity. issue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and then I feel like something clicked in Tampa
Yeah.
Bay where, but I mean, he was running with like, I mean, you know, you look at Leonard Fournette's college highlights and he's just bulldozing people and like he just looks like an absolute freak of nature. As good as and solid as he was in Jacksonville before, I mean, I don't know that I really saw that on a consistent basis. Whereas in the playoffs, I mean, playoff Lenny was a whole joke
Yeah.
thing, but.
Super
I mean,
Bowl
he
Lenny.
was steamrolling guys, and he looked like the best athlete on the field again, like the first time since college.
And he is the type of guy, like, if for some reason the switch is flipped.
Yeah.
And you said you wonder what flipped that switch. How about Tom,
Tom
Brady
Brady.
every day at 5:30 in the morning texting those guys, "Let's win a Super Bowl."
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Tom
That's
Brady
what I
is
think flipped the
amazing.
switch.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, yeah, I would say go try and trade for Fournette.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably some middle ground. Some people will probably still be a little sour on him, and some
Guy,
people
he wants too much for him all the time.
I just know you love him.
Yeah, then some people are going to be really high on him after how he finished the year.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's worth looking at him just because I think, especially if he goes back to Tampa Bay, I know Ronald Jones is still there, but there's something with that team that clicked in his head, and, I mean, he looked
good.
excellent
Yeah.
again. So, I'm high on Fournette going forward.
All right, good stuff, guys. All right, that's going to wrap up this edition. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate it so much. Good luck, guys.
Thanks for listening.